We now return to what if Deku had ancient genes.
I am the Precurser, an ancient being. All those with my genetics can contact me, given they have a pure heart. You've been found to have a pure heart, and so I have an important task for you.
What? Those with your genes? Pure heart, ancient being, I'm sorry, none of that makes sense.
Well, I suppose I should start with what you are, and how your genes were activated. You see, Izuku, you are not quirkless, as you thought. You in fact had an awakening quirk that allowed your ancient genetics to come to the surface. These powers are now yours. However, should you misuse them to harm innocents, I shall strike you down where you stand. Now that you know who you are, I have to tell you about something more important than yourself. I and my people, long ago, left ancient artifacts of immeasurable power that lie in disarray. With the right power, though, they can be repaired, and either bring immeasurable good or immeasurable sadness and destruction to the world. You, Izuku, last of our kind, must track down these items and gather them before the evil that we sense amassing can get their hands on them. If they gain these powers, there will be no stopping them. You must protect your awakening quirk, for there are those who would steal it if you allow them. They will gain the power you possess and destroy the world as you know it. Our people are now gone. This mission lies in your hands. Find the relics, restore the power, and strike fear into the hearts of evil. Then, and only then, will you have the peace you crave. Only then can your dreams come true. It seems you are about to awake. I'm sorry, we can speak no longer.
Izuku awakes. It's been 4 weeks that he's been unconscious. All Might is deflated and multiple doctors are surrounding him. All Might, you're deflated. Sorry, Izuku. I spilled the beans. All Might replies with a sympathetic smile. Izuku cries, knowing that he's the one that made All Might tell. Izuku, how could you not tell me you have a quirk? Izuku's mom replies, through her tears, somewhat happy, somewhat sad, and a lot worried. I'm sorry. I messed up a lot, Izuku replies. No, Izuku. I pushed you too hard. I'm sorry. All Might apologizes, then puffs up to his buff form to hug Izuku. Izuku hugs back, shocked. Why did he need to do that? If you want, we can cut back on the training. No. Now that the Public Safety Commission knows, the press will find out. And when they do, villains will. I have to train harder than ever so no one can take my quirk. All Might thinks Izuku means one for all. His quirk must be protected at all costs. Well, you'll be discharged in a day. That gives you 2 weeks to study and recover, and 8 months to train. I'll train you as hard as I can. And so, they all leave the next day. Izuku rests, but he has to get used to his new body. He's briefed on what's different about him and how his body's changed inside instead of just on the outside. He has 2 hearts, 4 kidneys, an extra lung, an extra liver. His lungs have mutated to be able to breathe with low oxygen, and his lung capacity is increased by 40%. Along with that, his muscles have become almost as solid as steel, increased in mass. His body grew an extra half a foot, making him 6 foot even. His eyes have changed to a deep yellow. His hair has actually gotten far more coarse and rough. Deku feels like he's become pretty strong, but he has to test it. he has All Might use One for All against him in a battle, in a field. Izuku is starting to become a better fighter. His admiration of All Might isn't really shackling him. Izuku's battle instincts and enhanced perception have made him much more of an opportunistic fighter. So he's using his elbows, his legs, his knee. Heck, he uses his forehead one time. But every fight ends the same. A stomach punch from All Might at 100% and Izuku hitting the ground. He may have almost limitless stamina, but he isn't invincible. And All Might makes sure he knows this brutal fact. He goes home sore and bruised every day. Almost 7 months have passed and Deku is now going to school. Bakugo has noticed Deku's transformation. However, Deku is still submissive to Bakugo a little bit. This time, however, Deku, after battle training so much, Bakugo goes to hit him and Deku instinctively grabs Bakugo's fist and judo slams the blonde, causing everyone to freak out, including Deku. Did he really just slam Bakugo? However, when Bakugo gets up, he looks hard at Izuku, then laughs. "You got balls, Deku!" Izuku laughed nervously, knowing that this isn't the end. After school, Bakugo comes up to Deku. "So, you finally manifested your dumb quirk, huh?" "Yeah, and it's not dumb. It makes me super strong and super fast and..." "Deku, shut up!" "I know everyone gave me and All Might the credit for it, but you threw your backpack through that sludge villain's head. You saved me, and after the way I've treated you." "To be fair, it was caught earlier and I kinda sucked..." "I'm talking, nerd!" "Sorry." Bakugo sighs. This kind of thing isn't easy for him. "Look, you're strong, alright. I just wanted to thank you." Deku smiles and puts out his hand. Bakugo looks harshly at Deku and says, "If you ever tell anybody about this, I'll murder you," and walks away. Bakugo, in his own way, has acknowledged Deku's strength, and I don't think he'd be super mad since there was always the possibility Deku would manifest a quirk late. He didn't have an extra joint. If you guys don't like the characterization of Bakugo or think I'm making him too soft, don't get it twisted. Bakugo is never going to be a Deku fanboy, and his tsundere mouth is never not going to be a thing. However, he's softer because I see Deku not bowing down to Bakugo as much in this timeline, and Bakugo just had to deal with his anger earlier in a more healthy way. Flash forward to after the last little bit of training with All Might, and Deku could use up to 80% of One for All. But I'm saying this so you guys understand the strength. He still can't regulate the power he puts in it. He's trying, but for some reason, it's just a mystery to him. All Might can see this and tells Deku to keep working on improving his body, and he'll figure out a way how he can help Deku. It's time for the UA entrance exam. And Deku walks confidently this time. But then something happens. He starts to trip, like in canon, but he's trying to catch himself, since he knows falling is bad juju. But before he can catch himself, Uraraka catches him. This interaction goes totally different than in canon, because Deku thinks that his awesome genetics asserting themselves. He looks amazing, and Uraraka can't help but notice and get flustered. He thanks her, but she apologizes. "Sorry I didn't ask for permission, but you were about to fall, and that sucked right before a big test." Now, Deku has confidence, but not enough to make him talk normally. But it does keep him from screaming like in canon. You're about to see why that isn't necessarily a good thing. Deku tries to think of something to say, but his mouth just splurts, "Wow, you're pretty!" Uraraka blushes, but in this confusion, she forgot to turn off her quirk. That is, until she gets sick and throws up. So yeah, Deku took a hard hit to his confidence and apologizes to her for saying something so dumb. She tries to explain that it was just the backlash of her power, but Deku flash steps off before she can. You know, not being able to believe he just said something so weird. And even though he feels kind of bad, he's secretly praying she doesn't get in, so he doesn't have to talk to her again. Because, getting shot down that harshly, it's kind of harshing Deku's confidence. However, Deku actually manages to get past the written part, getting a better score than in canon, but, he didn't study that hard, so he's not nearly the best in the written exam. That goes to Bakugo like in canon, which is weird, because he just doesn't seem like the paper boy. They turn in their papers, and he's just glad he managed to pass that. President Mike explains the test, and Ida does his questioning about the 0 pointers, which I never really understood. Ida, get the branch out your butt. And Deku says to himself, whether or not it will give me points, I'm going to take that thing out and prove myself worthy of All Might's successor. So they head down to the testing site, and Deku is just ready for it. He knows that the second the doors open, it's on. When President Mike says start, Deku doesn't even wait for the doors to open fully. He's already inside, taking down as many robots as he can get his hands on. He's actually outspeeding Ida and taking on as many enemies as he sees, actually using super speed to travel to all the exam sites, all while saying to himself, I will prove myself worthy as one for all. I will live up to my destiny. Sidebar, like I said, Deku is incredibly broken in this What If. If that isn't your thing, I actually do plan on doing a series where Deku is a little more realistic in the world, but this is more of a writing experiment for me. Back to the story. This is actually making a lot of people angry, because they can see Deku's really strong, but he's also being really inconsiderate and destroying all the bots in sight, now giving them no chance to shine. Deku, within the first 12 minutes, he's already broken all UA records. Nobody manages to get any points because Deku's just breaking their targets. But Deku's problem is he's going too hard. He actually starts to run out of breath, and I've already explained why that should not be a thing. We actually get a quick glimpse at the teachers and a quick look into All Might's mind. Now we see your true weakness, young Midoriya. You believe your strength is the end-all be-all. For now, that may be true. However, you're getting dangerously close to empty. What will you do? After making several circles around the city, Deku sees there are no more robots left after having destroyed them all. He stares blankly at the camera he found and asks bluntly, where's the 0 pointer? His question is answered when he hears a cry. It's Uraraka, and she's trapped under rubble. Deku sees her and some feelings bubble up. He feels super weird and awkward, but he knows that being a hero is acting even when you're super uncomfortable and made a mistake. Deku, however, is reaching his limits, and the last of his energy seeps out. He runs, powering up his body with One For All, pushing all the lactic acid from his muscles and buffing up. He rushes hard and tries his best to reach the 0 pointer in time, and he punches it out of existence, leaving massive shockwaves behind the robot. It levels half the city. But luckily, no one was behind the robot. But everyone is in shock. And now we're going to cover how broken he truly is. Izuku was heading hard towards the ground, because he didn't only break his arms and legs, he hit that thing with so much force that after he had exhausted his own body, his spine is fractured and he's coming in hot. It's crunching his body. Uraraka does her best and slaps him as he falls and makes him float, rescuing him from a certain death. After everything is over, Recovery Girl comes in and just starts ripping into Deku. You overused your body by showing off, and when you actually needed it, you had to dig deep for more power to save someone. I know you've trained hard for this, but in all your time training with that buffoon, did he teach you any self-control? She kisses Deku, and at first this weirds him out. But he's actually healed up. He feels really weak, though. The teachers have an announcement that's sure to make everybody else angry. Make sure you do apologize. Just like that, Eraserhead shows up in front of the gathered students. Everybody feeling good? They all shake their heads no, except for Deku and Uraraka, who just look down ashamed. That's to be expected. since none of you actually got a chance to show any of your quirks. They all grumble angrily to themselves. Izuku Midoriya, you have a total of 598 points. Ochaka Uraraka, you have 50. Care to guess how many everyone else has? They both frown and feel horrible about themselves. 0, sir, Izuku says. That's right. So I have no choice. Izuku Midoriya, Ochaka Uraraka, you pass. Everyone else fails. Everyone is heartbroken. Some are even tearing up, their dreams taken away from them just like that. Luckily, because this was an extraordinary circumstance, everyone but Izuku Midoriya and Ochaka Uraraka will be given a retest in a few hours after they rest. Aizawa grins his usual grin and stares into Deku's soul. Izuku, the teachers want to see you. Alright, that's actually where I'm going to end this part of What If Deku Had Ancient Genes part. I just want to thank everyone for watching. It brings me so much joy that you guys actually care about the random stories I make up. I can see it in my analytics, and the few people that click tend to watch to the finish, and that just makes me immeasurably happy. So thank you guys, and please have an amazing day.